Now, I have to say that it is just absolutely fantastic to be here. Scott, thank you for inviting me to the Cardiff Business Club. Now, I looked into Cardiff Business Club a bit, and I realised it was started in 1912. That makes it even older than the CBI. Now, what I figure must have happened is that sometime in the 1950s, when we got going, you must have handed us your membership list. So thank you very much indeed. It is great to look out this evening and see so many familiar faces, so many CBI members, and it is terrific to be here at such a long-standing business club. So this evening, you asked me to talk about the outlook for business. And I'm really delighted to do that. We are living in such interesting times. And actually, I had experience the other day with one of my really bright young economists brought to me the latest forecast that we're doing. And actually, it's very similar to the last forecast we did. And he said to me, but it's so boring. And I said to him, yeah, but boring right now is pretty good. We could do with a little bit more boring. But what I am going to do is to really go through, I think, some perspectives on the economy. I'm going to start in the economy because it's really very interesting, and I'm going to pick up on, as Steve said, I've been in Davos in China, but then I think head into some of the issues that I think really matter most. And yes, the B word I will get to, but we had a rule over Christmas, and I don't know how many of you had Brexit conversations over the dinner table. We had quite a few. My father doesn't quite share my views, I have to say, and we banished Brexit conversation till after pudding. I'm not going to quite do that here, but I am going to put it at the end because there is an awful lot more to what we need to do than Brexit. But let me start with the economy, because I do think we are in an incredibly interesting place. There are many, many reasons to be cheerful, and I don't think I would have said that if I was standing here with you last year. So globally, growth really is back. You know, I felt that in Davos. So my third time. I'm not a Davos regular, but you know, it's quite something, that kind of trekking around in snowshoes in the Alps. A slightly bizarre experience, but you do get a bit of a read on the temperature of the global economy. Growth is back and exuberance is back, with some of the risks I think we have to recognise. But let's look at the growth rate. So US will be at around 3%. Europe probably between 2 and 2.5%, 2.5% for Germany. India and China, despite all those predictions about slowdown, between 6 and 7%. We think for the global economy over 4%. It is a huge relief. We've finally seen that rebound that we wanted to see. And I think it has some other interesting things going on. So I was very struck at Davos this year that in previous years, you know, the people to see would have been will.i.am and Gwyneth Paltrow, and the mobs kind of formed around the celebrities. This year, they formed around the leaders. So the rock stars this year were Emmanuel Macron, Justin Trudeau, and of course, you know, the big man of them all, Trump, who when he arrived, as Piers Morgan said, it was like Mick Jagger had arrived in this tiny Swiss town. And I think that says something about what countries are trying to say about themselves and about their confidence. The rock stars are the new leaders. Now, you'll say, but hang on a minute, what about all the market volatility that we've seen in the first few weeks of this year? And I think it's clearly a concern, and to see stock markets go up and down like that, I think we're now 7% down on the FTSE from the beginning of the year. It's about the same, interestingly, as we had in 2016 when the Chinese market appeared to wobble. But I have to say, having looked at it, and we have an outstanding chief economist, and her view is that this is actually the kind of volatility that you want at the moment. It's a correction. This is the Fed beginning to tighten in on inflation. It's wages beginning to rise after flatlining in the US for a long time. And this is a correction that we will see. We don't want it to go much further, but actually the fundamentals are really good. And just another thing I would draw from China. 4 very interesting days with Chinese companies the week before last. There's no doubt that the UK economy is seen as having enormous strength, and actually Steve touched on them. The number of times that Chinese investors talk to me about rule of law, are fantastic universities. We have 3 universities in the top 10 in the world. It is fantastic. You have great universities here. We have a flexible labour market. We happen to be in the right time zone, but that really does help in the modern world. And, of course, our great innovation. These are things that really count. And if ever we feel our confidence wobbling, actually, going to China and hearing them talk about how on the Belt and Road project, this massive global infrastructure project, they want UK services advising them. They want our engineering, they want our architecture, they want our legal services. We have got so much opportunity. They also do like our television, I have to say. As Steve said, it is one of my passions. They are very keen on Downton Abbey. They're quite keen on The Crown. They haven't quite got Bake Off, I have to say. It slightly mystifies them, but they may not be the only ones on that. And then what about Wales? Well, I have to say, I think Wales is in an incredibly strong position. You've got record employment, rising productivity, and lots of companies that are doing great things in all sectors. But I have to say, the one that really stands out is tech. So South Wales, the biggest cybersecurity hub outside London. Firms like SPTS in Newport, who I had the pleasure of visiting last year, engineering not just Europe's smartphones, but the world's smartphones. A pipeline of talent coming through the new Welsh workforce for the 4th Industrial Revolution. Thanks to a lot of players in this making a difference, the National Cybersecurity Academy, Cardiff University Institute for Compound Semiconductors, and a real triumph, I think, the first of its kind, the Semiconductor Catapult, which was a real pilot that has paid off so well. And of course, it's not just Cardiff. If you head north, east or west out of here, you'll find so many examples of great business. Everything from Wilverby Power Station being built by Horizon on Anglesey, the advanced manufacturing base in northeast Wales, anchored around that great company Airbus, and 200 million bottles of Welsh water soft drinks produced every year by Radnor Hills in Prestine. So it is all, I think, set really fair for Wales.